Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video I wanted to take an in-depth look at basically the situation we're in with the trucking industry. I know there's a lot of talks right now about where things are going, and so I wanted to actually look at some of the lagging and leading indicators so that we have an idea of where things are going, so that we can make plans and at least know where to go from here, because a lot of opinions are out there. In my opinion, a lot of those opinions are incorrect and they just want to get clicks. So as always, we only report on the truth, or at least what we believe to be true, whether or not it is doom and gloom or just happiness all around. So let's jump in, let's take a look. So what I did is I made a little presentation here for you guys. We're gonna jump in. I'm gonna try to put myself here in a corner. Let's take a look. So what we're looking at here is basically trucking April 2023, but what I'm also going to look at is, of course, May 2023, because we are at the end of April, but also the rest of the year. So let's take a look, guys, because everyone's got an opinion. You guys know about the saying about that one, right? Everyone's got one. So the big boys see no reason for improvement in April of 2023, which is very different from what they were talking about recently, right? Now, I do believe that, again, in sometime in closer to July or somewhere around that time, we are going to see some increases, but I don't believe that we're going to see anything major between now and then. I also don't believe that we're going to have some sort of extraordinary year. I do know that once things move, they're going to move very quickly, but they might be short-lived. Nonetheless, I see no major changes in May, and the rest of the year is uncertain, not only for me, but for the big boys in the industry. So what are we talking about here? What we're talking about here, that there's really no real data to back up a bullish outlook on freight. All right. Now, we're not saying it's going to be bearish, because things are kind of as low as they're going to get. They might get a little lower, but not much. But there's really no data backing it. So all of this stuff on YouTube out there, and all this hyperbole about, oh, the market's turning and we're going to be making money left and right. Well, where are they getting that from? Exactly, right? So, I mean, I'm all about positive information. I'm all about positive attitude and stuff like that, but it's got to be based on something. And, we can't be feeding people lies. People like to talk, and that's kind of what I'm talking about here, right? People tend to respond to positivity a lot more positively than to negativity, right? So, and that's why a lot of these videos are positive. So apparently I'm just a negative person. So let's just move forward. All right. The outbound tender volumes are as flat as Nebraska. The reason I said that is because I am in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it is pretty dang flat over here. And outbound tender volumes have been flat. Now, it's not all bad news. They could be declining, but again, March was bad, April is bad, May looks to be bad, but that doesn't mean that, decline. So flat is better than declines. All right. Produce isn't really producing because, we've made videos about this in the past. There have been quite a bit of flooding with all the snow that's hit the Rockies and the western part of the country. Oregon, Florida got pummeled. California and Florida floods are a big deal. Now we got no major demand in construction and new home starts, but flatbeds fared better, right? So flatbeds have been the king of the hill for a little while. Flatbed step decks, mainly that's because of construction season, mainly new home starts and stuff like that have not really come through, but there is going to be construction nonetheless. Roads need to be fixed, potholes need to be filled, and that's where flatbeds, and that doesn't mean you need to drop your vans and reefers and jump into flatbeds. I mean, obviously, if you have different, if you have the capacity for different equipment types, you are going to be able to basically jump around from different types of equipment, and some things are better than others, and that's what you do, is you utilize the equipment that you have available to you. But if you only have one piece of equipment, just stick with that. Things will eventually change. But ultimately, retail is down, and that generally affects dry freight and not so much the flat. Flat is better than falling. As mentioned earlier, it is better to be flat than to be crashing somewhere. But what we have is a lack of freight plus an overcapacity issue. Now, beginning of the year, what we saw in the end of last year and beginning of the year, what we saw are record-setting numbers of closures for MC numbers, right? And now what we're seeing is that in about the first 3 months of the year, we saw about the total number of MC closures as we saw in a single month, and I believe that was in December of 2022. Now we also have a lack of freight, so there's just not enough freight. A lot of the guys that are running teams right now, it's not even an issue of rates, which is an issue, but the issue is that there's not even enough freight to move, basically, right? And you have an overcapacity issue. That's because consumers ain't consuming. Okay, consumers just simply are not consuming, and the reason for that is because they just don't have the money, right? Inflation is a problem. Discretionary spending is down, so people are not spending on discretionary items. They're spending on essential items, right? And that's kind of where the freight's going to be moving forward until the economy improves. Retailers are shutting down stores. We saw that with Walmart's. We saw that with Best Buys. We saw that with Target. We saw that with Bed Bath & Beyond, and all sorts of going out of business and bankruptcies, and just the reductions, and especially Walmart's. I mean, why do you think Walmart's are built so cheaply, right? Consumers are buying essential items, not discretionary items. We covered that. That's exactly what's going on. Savings at an all-time low, guys. I forget what the number was. I recently saw it. I didn't put it into this system here, into this slideshow here for you. But we are at an all-time low for savings. Now, Americans, we were never really big on saving money. We just kind of live in a moment. But what we generally see is a higher savings rate. Okay, and we did see a savings rate during the pandemic where everyone was locked at home. That was actually some of the highest savings, and part of that was because of all the cash injections from the government through your stimmies. But then all that got spent and went back into the economy, and things started to improve. But the problem is that savings are an all-time low at the moment. Spending is cautionary, right? So cautionary spending, people are not splurging on stuff that they don't necessarily need or can't live without, right? No disposable income, which comes down to low savings, cautionary spending, and obviously consumer debt is racking up. Consumer debt is on the up and up. Okay. Now we're also looking at a correlation, and we love to talk about correlations. Like, for example, when people say, fuel is up, so we should be paid more. No, not really. There's no correlation there. But there is a correlation between a person's weekly earnings and their decline and the trend of falling freight volumes. I wonder why. If I'm making less money, then I'm probably going to be spending less money. And if I'm spending less money, there's going to be less orders of freight or product that's going to be shipping, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing. A correlation between a person's weekly earnings declining and the trend of falling freight volumes that we have been seeing for well over a year now. And so what are we looking at? We're looking at inbound ocean containers that are dramatically down. Now, remember when we had all those ocean containers just floating around in California and other places? Well, now there's pretty much nothing going on, right? There's the inbound ocean containers that are expected to come in. They're not coming in because there's no orders. And this tells us about what's to come in the future. It's a leading indicator, an excellent leading indicator, right? Retailers are not ordering inventory. That's what it's telling us, all right? And if they're not ordering inventory, that means that the expectation is that folks aren't going to spend money because they don't have the money. And at the end of all this, if I remember, I'm going to tell you guys a story. Heck, I'll just tell you a story now. A good friend of mine, one of the VPs in one of the largest banks in the West, known him since we were kids, told me a very interesting thing. All right. Whenever you have a really high education, and here, let's just switch over to camera so we can talk this way. Okay. So anytime you have really, high level of education and you're wanted in the industry, you go through interviews for jobs after you graduate from, top schools, Harvard or, Cornell. You graduate and, you made an offer. But what happens currently is that a lot of these major institutions, they don't want to lose the candidate because, they're hard to come by. Really good, qualified, smart, intelligent, highly qualified candidates are hard to come by. But they also don't know what's going on and what to expect, and they don't really want to give them a fat salary of $175,000, stock options, blah, 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 blah. So they don't really want to risk, but they also don't want to risk potentially losing that candidate. So what are they doing? They're saying, here, friend, here's 20 grand. Go take a trip to Europe. Go relax, go chill, go to Cancun, go to Mexico, go do something fun. And let's touch base in about 3 months. So they don't want to lose the candidate, but they also don't want to give them a fat salary and not have them do anything. And so this is a major indication of economic contraction, because major banks, major businesses that generally utilize the use of intelligence and and smarts and high level thinking in these graduates aren't willing to invest into them. They aren't willing to actually take the risk of hiring those individuals, and they also don't want them to go to their competition. So what they say is that, listen, I'd rather not lose 150 grand, so here's 20 G's, enjoy yourself, and let's touch base then. That is a very, very bad indication of where the economy is going. Now, back to what we were doing. Retailers not ordering inventory, okay? As far as the ocean container freight, 75% of it consists of retail goods. Oh, surprise, right? 75% of ocean container freight consists of retail goods. And we're not seeing that ordered because people aren't spending money because they don't have money to spend. We're not seeing the restocking from, stores, distribution centers, warehouses. They're not ordering. No restocking equals no demand expectations from retailers, just like what I just said. All right. Now, freight waves. Many of you guys follow freight waves. So freight waves, they're actually showing an average freight rate of around $1.56 a mile mile average all across the board for the industry. Now, so happy to tell you guys that our averages are considerably higher. You can speak to our customers. You can give us a call. We can go through the loads of lists, and you can also watch any one of our recent videos where we actually show you weekly what kind of rates we're booking for our customers. And even now, we've got guys averaging a little over $3 a mile. Not everyone, in fact, most are not, but we still got lots and lots and lots of folks averaging well over $2 a mile. But Freight Waves run is at $1.56. However, in 2019, the line haul spot rates were at $1.47. So what that tells us is that we're super close. We are about 10 cents off from the very lows, the average low spot rates back in 2019. But there's some differences between now and 2019, right? And let's go over those. Non-fuel costs went up by about 30 cents per mile. Oh, okay. Diesel prices are up, right? We were in the $2 range, right? 250, 270, 280 back in 2019. Now we're, at 450, inching up to about $5 a gallon. So that's a big difference. Driver wages went up. So, and a lot of drivers are hard to hire now because their expectation is still now to get hired at, 70, 80 cents a mile, but they don't really understand the side of the business that the carrier cannot afford to pay them that much. Not that they don't appreciate them or don't want to pay them that much. They would love to, because if we're able to pay you 80 cents a mile, that means we're making hand over fist money, right? But it's not happening. So wages are up. Insurance costs are up. Generally speaking, insurance costs are up. Part of that is, of course, there was a huge influx of new entrants entering the industry with all this freight. Maintenance costs are up. And that's generally because of inflation. Costs are up all around. So maintenance costs are up, are also an indicator of, that companies are not making as much money. Finally, contract rates are near spot rates. And we've talked about this in past videos as well. There is a convergence of freight rates between contract markets and the spot market, right? So now they're actually pretty close. So where's the camera? So they're converging, right? And where the X meets the spot, that's the point of convergence. All right. Contract rates have another 20 to 25 cents to fall by the end of 2023. All right. So if they drop another 20 cents, assume an approximate 20 to 25 cent drop in rates in the spot market. So if you're $1.56, drop another 20, 25 cents there, and you see where you're at. Okay. This is why it's so important for you to know your operating costs. Extremely important. But here, what we're talking about is by the end of the year, by the end of 2023. So we got a ways to go, and anything can happen between now and then. So moving on. Here's what we're hoping for, guys. What we're hoping for as a country, and we're seeing some indication of this actually happening, is North and South trade, right? So we're talking North what? Canada, South, Mexico, right? As well as South and North trade. All right. So again, Mexico and Canada. Again, we're seeing that mainly in the Mexico sector, in Mexico, watch Laredo. It's going to be a big deal. And the reason for this is because manufacturing has left China to other parts of Asia. Okay. And actually, it's actually now cheaper to manufacture in Mexico than it is in China. Believe it or not, that's true. It's a real statistics. So look for major growth in Laredo, because Laredo, Texas, and the Mexico border is right there. And a lot of this is happening in Mexico, so that inter-border transfer is going to come up, right? And let's take a look at here, right? What do we got here? A very pretty picture. And what we got is, in the meantime, if you need help, if you need to get through this crazy market, go to our website at aftdispatch.com. Click if you're a carrier, we can take care of your dispatching needs. Click if you're a leased on owner operator, we can take care of you there. As long as you got your equipment, you got a truck, willingness to work, at least a couple years of verifiable OTR experience, CDL experience, no hot shots or anything like that, we can definitely start talking. Okay. You still work with dispatch. That's included as part of service. There are a lot of benefits of working as a leased on owner operator versus especially if you're a first year brand new MC carrier with absolutely nothing to talk about, right? So definitely do that. Number is 801-448-6363. Give us a call. You can also text that number and we'll get back to you. But like I said, go to our website, aftdispatch.com. There's going to be a form there. You can click, hey, I'm a carrier. Hey, I'm a leased on owner operator. Just fill in the information, and that's it. That's all it takes. And basically we'll just, we'll call you. We'll get together. We'll try to figure things out and, see if we can get you taken care of. Here's our website again. Definitely give us a call. Get in touch with us. We'd love to be able to help you guys out. But as you can see, guys, things are not looking good. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. If you agree, let me know in the comment section below. But either way, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. This video is kind of neither here nor there. It's we just want to do a little update. And I didn't really want to talk about April so much because we're at the end of April. A lot of these YouTube trucker creators are talking about, at the end of the month, they're talking about April. What? It's not much of a prediction when April 24th, you're talking about what's going on in April, right? So that's why we're looking at May. That's why we're looking at June, July. We're looking at the rest of the year. So if you have any questions whatsoever, give us a call. Text us 801-448-6363. You can also go to our website at aftdispatch.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. Until next time, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take a look at the rest of our videos and give us a call, text us, or get in touch with us in the comment section below. Please share the video. Thank you guys. Take care.